Why would I wake up at 6 in the morning on a Sunday? I'm actually going to the Homestead Training Center, and I'm gonna meet up with U.S. Army veteran Frank Avila. Amazing guy. I haven't seen him in about 10 years. So when I saw that he opened up a new school where he's providing tactical training, I'm like, yeah, we definitely have to get in contact. Safety in general is so important. That's the prime concern, is your safety and the safety of your loved ones. So let's see. You know, I can't wait to get in there and talk to Frank and see what he has planned for me. We got vultures. Oh no. U-turn. Is it this way? That way, right? Oh, this is the weirdest route ever. When I decided to get a gun, I was actually the victim of a home robbery. I wasn't home. You know, you call the police and you're hoping they're gonna take fingerprints, they're gonna catch this person. Nothing ever came out of it. So that day I didn't act. I didn't go and get a weapon or anything. The next day, my eyes really opened up. As soon as I sit down in my office, my wife calls me and she's hysterical. She's like, babe, they're trying to open the door. I'm like, oh my God. Babe, I know this is kind of hard, but please just try to peek through the little peephole. They're not going to be able to open the door. There's bars that are going to prevent the door from opening. It's not the chain, you know, that you can just snap. It's very difficult to break this. She goes, no, I can't, I'm frozen. I go, no, I get it. Oh man. I don't know how I got to my apartment in 10 minutes, but I did. When I get there, luckily nothing happened. The person, they were spooked because they didn't expect the resistance from the door. And now I get there and I'm like, oh man, what would have happened if that person actually broke through? And yeah, if their intentions were to rob, but maybe now they're gonna get desperate and they're gonna make a really bad decision. And it could be life altering. And that's a chance that I wasn't willing to take. I'm like, my wife's never gonna be defenseless again. I mean, I don't know if I should have done it like this, but that day I got online and I ordered a gun, which looked a lot bigger online. When I went to the armory to pick it up, it was the tiniest gun ever. It was like the gun from Men in Black, that tiny gun. And I was like, oh, what did I buy? A 22 caliber. My wife thought it was a BB gun. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know what I did. During those days, that gun was like $300. So imagine now, it's probably like $4 million or something like that. So I get the gun, and now I'm like, all right, we're gonna go to the shooting range. We're gonna practice. And I also rented a 45 caliber of Smith & Wesson. My hand hurt after shooting that gun. My gun, it was a joke. So I'm like, all right, definitely I can't carry this tiny gun. I might as well throw like a staple at him or something. So after a few times going to the range, I felt good. My wife knew how to use the gun. I'm like, you know what? I feel really good now. So if that were to ever happen again, she can just take the gun out and wait for them if they're gonna try to break through the door. You can buy anything for self-defense. If you're not comfortable with a gun, you can have pepper spray on you. You can have a taser to get prepared for the worst case scenario. So that's what we're gonna do today.
Frank said, gate number 6789, range Bravo.
Can't remember that shit. We just arrived to Homestead Training Center. I'm really excited. Frank's already here. We're gonna let him explain all the things you're supposed to be doing, the do's and don'ts. So let's go, let's check it out. Frank's ready for us. Hey, Frank.
Hey, Sergio.
What's up, man?
How are you, man?
How are you?
Welcome.
Likewise,
Nice
man.
to
Thanks
see
for
you.
having me.
No problem.
It.
Perfect. I'm really glad to have you. It's a beautiful day today. We're here at Homestead Training Center. Number one thing is safety. So we're gonna start with our bodies. Out here, we can get dehydrated very quickly because it's very humid. So I got you your water, not only your water, but I also brought you some electrolytes.
Oh, wow. Thank you, man. I didn't even think about that.
That's really important. Celsius, I don't really recommend it, but it's okay. It's all good. Definitely, you know, eye protection. We have your.
Oh, that's a very nice brand there.
Yeah,
that you got there.
I like that. I
You
really
got good
do.
style, man. I
Yeah,
like
man.
you.
Thanks. So we have two types of hearing protection. We have electronic hearing protection, and we have your earbuds. We have to be able to communicate out here
Okay.
because there's going to be a lot of commands being given.
Okay.
That's paramount, communication. So we're actually at a 100-yard range. It's really good for both things. It's really good for pistol and rifle.
Okay.
We have the nunchucks here.
Oh, that's my favorite, man.
Yeah. So disparity of force, right?
Nice.
You know, you can definitely defend yourself. We have actually a Savage rifle. This one it has a silencer on it.
Okay.
So we'll get to shoot that. And if you notice, all of our firearms is completely clear. I make sure that there's no live ammo. So as of right now, the range is cold and definitely no ammunition.
Okay.
We have the bolt out, so, you know, safety, right? Following through, we have the AR. We're pointing it downrange. Every rifle is being checked and make sure it's clear.
Okay.
All right. Now we have another pistol. We made sure that it's certainly clear. We have no live ammo, and all our ammo is secured. Safety is paramount out here. We want to definitely leave here with the same amount of holes that we came with.
There's so many different styles of guns. What do you recommend for like home protection? Somebody that hasn't been familiarized with their guns, but they did take their course, right? They got their CCW, and then they're like, oh, I want something for home protection. What would you recommend for that type of person?
I would recommend a striker fire pistol, just a 9mm. The ammo is not that expensive. Remember, inside of the home, most of our homes are made with sheetrock.
Yeah.
And we don't want ammunition penetrating through the wall. So
That's a very good point.
You know, ammunition is, you know, like this little pistol right here is good to go. ARs I like, but as far as home protection, it's really, really loud. In case you're involved in a self-defense incident, you're not gonna have, at that point, you're not gonna have eye and ear protection. So I would shy away from that just because it's probably gonna be too loud.
Okay.
Definitely a silencer, but you know, this is overkill. But you know, coming back to your question, a pistol, 9mm pistol, 9mm carbine. A shotgun is also good to have, but a shotgun takes a lot more training. So as a beginner, you mentioned beginner, just a nice striker fire 9mm pistol is cracking. It's
No,
good.
that makes sense. Frank, I have a question.
Sure.
You told me I had a huge surprise that I was gonna be tested. Law enforcement standards?
Yes, so Sergio, we're definitely not law enforcement. I normally train lawful civilians like yourself, like myself. I'm not law enforcement. So our training today is gonna be scoreable. Make sure that we practice all the conditions, dominant hand, non-dominant hand. You know, several different drills that is really gonna help you to understand what defensive pistol is.
Okay.
At this particular range, we're gonna be drawing from the holster. That's something that we can't do anywhere else.
Yeah.
So it's gonna give you a scenario of what it is to really be in a gunfight. Hopefully it never
That's
happens,
true.
right?
Yeah.
So yes, it is gonna be scoreable. And you're gonna, once you're done today, it's really you against you. It's no competition. It's gonna give you your score. You can definitely come back at a later time and just maybe hype up that score, right? So that's the idea, that we progressively train so we can get a little better. So tomorrow we're gonna be better than today. I see that you're all set up. You have your
Yeah, I hope I brought everything. Am I set?
perfect. Yeah, you're looking good. You're tracking things that we cannot do into the range because we're so close to the air reserve station. We cannot point our guns up to the sky, so
Okay.
that's a no-go. We're not gonna put our finger on the trigger until we're ready to shoot. That's very important. We're not going to load up our firearm until we're ready and we know what the drill is. In the rare event that we have an emergency, I'm wearing a tourniquet.
Okay.
Tourniquet is important to have out here in the range, so we have a couple. We have a first aid kit. In the case that we have an emergency, we're gonna have to act quick, right? So probably our camera guy is going to have to go up to the tower and let them know, hey, there's been a practice incident. And at that point, we're gonna have to call 911. He may need to do that. This is a very safe range. I love it because not many, if all, incidents happen here. So you're in good hands. So
No,
you know,
thank you.
I welcome you
appreciate it.
to to the training.
No, I mean, like you were saying, it's you against you out here, and that's really what I'm trying to highlight to the audience, to the listeners, to the viewers, right? Anything you're doing, but especially something kind of controversial with guns, that some people, it depends on what part, like as far as if you're beginner, intermediate, or a master at gun usage, you still have to train. You know what I mean? You're not gonna be like, oh no, I know it all, I'm never gonna train again. No, you always have to polish the sword, right?
Right. So what happens with firearms, when I get a lot of students, a lot of friends of ours that come and take a concealed carry course, definitely you need to know what you're getting yourself involved with. You should know, if you're in Florida, you should know federal gun laws, you should know self-defense laws, you should know federal defense laws, because this gun could really be a fine line between you going to jail or you losing your life. And obviously, we don't want neither of the things to happen. So we definitely have to navigate that quite before we get our concealed carry license. So effective passed your life first. We went into constitutional carry. Constitutional carry is more of a political stance where they said, well, it's as close as we can get to the Second Amendment, but it really puts us in a lot of liability, because when you have a concealed carry license, at that point the state is actually vesting you to make sure that you are a lawful citizen. If you have no felony, if you don't have a concealed carry license, you can't be within 1,000 feet of a school. How many schools do we have here in South Florida? We have a lot of schools. So when you carry your concealed carry license, kind of gives you an umbrella to cover you against that. This is definitely a tool of last resort. This is a tool that you implement it when your life is in imminent threat, when somebody's gonna actually get rid of your life or your loved one. So definitely we have to know what we're immersing ourselves into. When people take their concealed carry class and they get their pistol, this is by far not the hardest thing to learn, but the one that takes the longest to learn, because people don't like a big bang in front of their faces, right? So in a rifle, the bang happens at a longer distance.
Okay.
With a long-range rifle, it happens at a much longer distance. With a pistol, it's very close to your face. So as you're trying to learn a new skill, you're actually getting all that concussion into your head, and that kind of messes with your training. So you have to definitely train and get rid of that little by little. So it's progressive type training. It's not a one-day thing and just put it away, because not even myself is gonna learn this or is gonna master this, on a 1 day, 2 day. It takes time.
Another goal of this video is to motivate law-abiding people that maybe at this moment before the video, they're like terrified of guns and they're like, oh, I can't touch a gun, I'll find some other resort. Yeah, but you may need a gun, right? So I wanna make sure that we highlight the importance. If you're able and you're willing, and people like you that are good people, you're not an aggressive person. Like, who knows what some people may think, oh no, I don't want to get into that environment. It might be too aggressive for me or something. And it's not like that, It's a total misconception.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I'm a passive person, but I have it within me to, if I need to act and be reactive, I feel like I'm trained for that. The main idea, before we even get into using a firearm, one of the things that we teach and we really ponder on is de-escalation. De-escalation is probably, our voice is very, very important. And if we leave out of here today, I want to leave with one message, and you can take it back to your son, your wife. This applies to really everybody. We really don't want strangers getting very close to us. So our voice, when we project our voice, it is a weapon in itself without even getting us in trouble or doing anything. So I tell my students, be unpolite. Being unpolite is really going to eliminate traveling through anything else, before we get into a knife, before we get into using our firearm. With the simple fact that, hey, you may be a stranger walking up to me, and I'm keeping my distance, and I'm telling you, hey, wait, stop. And at that point, yes, I am being unpolite, but that unpoliteness could very well save my life, save your wife's life, anybody's life. Then you can let them know, hey, what is it you want?
Yeah.
If their intent is not a good intent, at that point, you know, you have, you know.
Yeah, you're
that-
trying to
you
read
have
them,
that
but at a distance.
Yes.
And that's obviously going to play a different role in the venue. Like if you're going to a conference, you already know what to expect. But if it's at your home, you're at my house. I don't. You're uninvited. I don't know your intentions. Mentally, I've been prepared for many years. I'm prepared to take a life if it's endangering myself or my loved ones. I'm ready for that. So like you were saying, you're a nice guy. Yeah, but there's multiple layers to you. Underneath that layer of being polite and being kind, you're basically, you know what it takes to diffuse a situation, and it might end up in that person passing away because
going
it's
back
either them
to
or you.
going back to what I was saying, right? So we are lawful citizens. We're not law enforcement. We're not going after bad guys. This is the type of training that we're going to be getting today, and this is what we're discussing. We're discussing being reactive to any possible threat. Okay, and the world is pretty much full of threats, but we have to be prepared. We have to practice for the rare event of.
Yeah.
Hopefully we come out alive, and that's the main idea. So definitely one of the things that from the gate, you know, as far as self-defense when we're out on the street, even in our house, is maintaining your distance from any type of stranger, because you don't know what their intents are. And that distance and being unpolite is gonna go a long way, even before you employ a knife, a gun, or anything like that. Their intentions may be to get so close to you to bring you into the house and ransack your house, kill you. So you have to have that mental matureness. Like you mentioned, we work in customer service at times. We wanna be nice, we wanna be polite. But when we're out there, we know strangers, there is nothing wrong with saying, hey, stop! You know, using our voice, that in itself is really gonna help us out.
Gotta stay hydrated. Tastes amazing.
We're training not to kill people or kill anybody, but we are training to defend our lives. And if it takes just one shot, you know, ethically to stop a threat, that's what it is. And that's has to be the mindset that we have to stick with. If it takes just a verbal command, hey, stand back, you know, I'm calling the police. If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. Go ahead and fire off a couple shots. Drop your magazine. All right. Come back to scan and assess. All right, very good. Okay.
Clear.
Clear. All right, very good. Maximum points is 200. All right. I see some in the 10. I see a lot in the 9. I see a lot in the 8. So really, it's not bad. I mean, it's good. Okay?
Yeah, hit the threat.
Yeah. Okay. Slide lock reload. Finger off your trigger. Finger off your trigger. Remove your magazine. The floor. Slide forward. All right. Back into action. Side picture. Side alignment. So this sight is blurry. This one is crisp, and the target is a little bit blurry. Let's just see how you did. Go ahead and slide forward. Reluctantly hold to your firearm. Pick up your magazine. So we're shooting at an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper.
Okay.
That is defensive accuracy shooting. All right, and you shot 10 rounds.
Okay.
So I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you have 9 out of 10.
Okay.
Okay. That's you know, that's you. I mean, you're not competing against anybody, but the condition was good. How did you feel with that drill?
Yeah, it was good.
It was good.
I liked it.
Dropping the magazine.
Yeah, like I've dropped the magazine when let's say I'm shooting like a bigger gun, like a Browning or a Glock. Since the magazine, it weighs more or something, like it falls easier.
We're just thinking like, hey, our gun is not working for us. Magazine is not falling for some reason. Man, just grab that magazine and throw it out. Grab your other magazine and put it in as quickly as possible, because on a defensive situation it's not seconds, it's milliseconds that, you know, that plays a role. So if you need to help it, but get that magazine out of there. You're done. That magazine is useless for you. Now you need to get more gas into your gun. We tracking so far?
Yeah.
Good to go?
Yeah.
All right, good to go. Okay, now we're gonna practice trigger resetting. Trigger resetting is when you press on the trigger. Okay, you heard the gun go off, right?
Yeah.
And it cycled another round, and you let it go forward, and you heard that little clip? That's the point that you want to just leave your finger. You don't want to slap your trigger. So again, I pressed on the trigger. My bullet went out of, all right, I had to, and then I went forward on the trigger, and you heard that click? That's your trigger reset.
Oh, wow.
All right, if you do this and you slap it, you slap it, you know, and you come back and you slap it again, you're gonna be all over your target.
Oh, okay.
All right, so you wanna work, you know, that trigger control. All right.
So the trigger reset is any gun you can do it.
And all the guns would do it. All the guns should be able to do it, especially yours. Just a little awkward, but it should do it when you're firing. So I have 10 rounds here. I'm gonna just work on my trigger reset. The way I'm gonna work on my trigger reset, if I have 10 rounds, I'm gonna count 11 times.
Okay.
Okay, because I'm gonna reset my trigger really 11 times, okay? I'm gonna load it.
Unload all the bullets and then the
yes.
trigger resets on the 11th because
No.
you only have 10?
They're all the time is gonna be a reset.
Okay.
Okay. Press. And if you listen to my trigger, you look at my finger on my trigger.
Yeah, I'm looking.
It reset it, right? You heard it reset?
If you do it fast, it won't reset, is what you're saying, right?
If you do
let it go too
well,
quickly?
if you do it too fast, you're slapping on the trigger.
No, I'm saying like, because you slowly released it.
Yeah, I slowly release it so that you can see when
Okay.
it's gonna reset. So I'm gonna try it one more time. You heard it, right?
Can you do it normal now without slow?
Now I'm gonna do it normal without.
Because I wasn't even paying attention to that.
So I have 8. Okay. So go ahead.
So when I was shooting, it doesn't naturally reset?
It does, but if you shoot it, if you go beyond your trigger reset and you come back to your trigger, your bullet just goes everywhere. So you want to just press the trigger and have it reset like that. You heard the reset?
Yeah.
Heard it?
So if I don't do it like that slow, it won't reset?
If you don't do it that slow, well, no, you can do it fast, but if you do it too fast, all right, what you're doing is you're slapping the trigger.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I'll show you. Hold on to that. Give me another mag. I'm gonna slap the trigger now.
Yeah, the accuracy is not there when you do it like that.
I'm taking the
Yeah,
finger
you were
off.
super accurate the way you were doing
Yeah.
it. Yeah, that makes sense.
So trigger reset will give you accuracy.
Okay.
And this gun actually has a really nice trigger reset.
No, you hit like the bullseye, you
Yeah.
completely ate it up.
Okay.
So this type of drill would work best in what type of scenario?
This type of drill would work every scenario. Even if you're in a defensive situation, you want to have that trigger reset at all times. Trigger reset. Trigger reset. You know, that's the difference between you praying and spraying versus you hitting what you're gonna hit. And look, you see this here? That can cost you that your gun may be out of battery. So you need to rack it really hard.
Okay.
Don't worry, it's not gonna break.
Okay, I got 6 in the
6.
clip.
All right, rack it hard. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
No, you're good. All right, now you want to hold it as high as you can. All right, go ahead. And just extend. Go easy, go easy.
I'm just trying to compare what I was doing before to what I'm doing now, you know?
All right, so you notice
feel the difference.
you anticipate a little bit of the recoil. Okay, which is normal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like the more thought that goes into it.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to do all the steps. you know?
Yeah. So try not to anticipate the recoil so much. Go slow, go slow. There you go.
Yeah, I'm just comparing the accuracy when I was doing it, like, you know.
Without the
obviously.
reset.
Yeah. The accuracy is not there.
I'm taking the
Yeah, you
finger
were
off.
super accurate the way you were doing
Yeah.
it.
Actually, the reset's right there.
Yeah.
You can come over actually on this side. You can see it better. You heard it?
Yeah, I heard it the first time when it clicked when right there. Yeah.
You heard it?
Yeah.
You heard it?
I need to work on my reset. The only reset I know is the Nintendo, the original. When you blow the cartridge,
That's fine.
reset.
That's fine. But yes, reset is important. Try to hit this target first. If it takes you to be a little closer,
Okay.
be a little closer. All right?
Just the one.
Just the one. But side picture, side alignment, and just press it. Just do 5 shots into here on that one right here. 5 shots, real slow. Da, 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 da. If you get tired, just go back to low ready and relax. Okay?
Okay.
But if you can get the 5 shots out,
Okay.
that's good. You know, so this right here, it's
Like
it's
a neutral point.
Yeah, it's like when you're doing push-ups that you go,
Yeah.
it's just a neutral point. You can be like this all day long. But the longer you are like this, the more
Yeah.
the tired you get, okay?
I'm sure.
So when you get tired,
a lot because you have a lot of training.
just go back like this, okay? Go ahead and you know,
Yeah, I'm ready.
try it out. It's you against you. Get a little closer. Get a little closer. Stop. Don't waste ammo. Get a little closer. Get a little closer.
Like that?
Yep. Get a little closer. Side picture, side alignment. There we go. Okay. All right, you're done. Slow. Take your time. Relax. Breathe.
Same place?
Same place. Breathe. Relax. Are you aiming right here, and you're hitting it here? Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I was aiming there.
here. Okay. So I
Look,
like it.
It's not loaded.
Yeah.
I was aiming the sight.
Right smack here.
Yeah.
So I want you to go a little bit higher. All right. Just aim right here, because we have to capture our dope on our gun, right?
So what's dope?
Your dope on that gun at a close range is perhaps your 12 o'clock right here. This is your center hold right here. There's also a 6 o'clock hold. If you put a 6 o'clock hold, you're probably gonna hit here. All right, so your dope at a close range is probably somewhere in the 12 o'clock range right here. So that's what we're practicing on.
Okay.
Okay. Relax, breathe, extend, side picture, side alignment, trigger reset.
Okay, I'm aiming at the new
Okay,
dot.
go ahead. Yeah. A little higher. There you go.
Is that typically an adjustment that you see, like when people are aiming high like that, is harder?
When they're aiming.
Let's say what I just did.
Oh, I see that. Yeah,
Is
like
that
not to your
Is that
natural aim.
typically
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a harder thing to do?
It is a little harder. Yeah, but in hard. Here we go. There we go. Good job. Okay, you're out of ammo. Finger off your trigger.
Yeah, that adjustment is what it
works.
for sure. It's like a 2-inch difference.
Yeah. So I got my concealed carry license. I didn't go to no class. I didn't take any formal training in the civilian world. The way I got my concealed carry license was with my Department of Defense DD-214. And shame on me for doing that. I never was proactive enough to go and take a formal CCW course where they would show me all the laws. And probably in my entire lifetime, I would have gotten in trouble 3 times. I probably would have shot 2 dogs. Because back then I used to, as you can see, I don't jog now, but I could have gotten in trouble by perhaps killing 2 dogs. All right, so I would have been charged.
But your life was in danger?
Really, I mean, was my life in danger? Were the dogs, biting on me and tearing off my leg? No. They were just some guard dogs. As I was jogging through the street, they would get loose from the yard and the dogs would come and bark at me. I would always carry while I was jogging, and I unholstered my gun and I pointed it at them. Instinctively, those dogs, they backed up. But just imagine if I would have just shot those dogs dead, perhaps I would have been charged with animal cruelty. That's like, man, why did I do that, right? Another incident, I was living in a 2nd-story building, and in the middle of the night, I heard a smashing sound. And it was someone in the parking lot just smashing down a glass. So here I am, young Frank, thinking that he's a cop, comes out, calls 911. That's a good thing. I mean, you definitely want to call 911, but you never, ever want to leave your castle. And that in itself is what I did. I went, I opened the sliding door and I went into the balcony. Wow, I have 911 on the line, and they were telling me, don't go out there, Frank, don't go out there. And me, I'm like, not even paying attention to them. I just went out there and I just, call on the person and I say, hey, just imagine that person, which was actually breaking the front windshield of a car. And if he would have just thrown that bat at me, I was in no imminent threat. I put myself into an imminent threat at that point. So imagine if I would have shot that guy dead at that point. We would not be making this story. So education is important.
Yeah.
Just because you're carrying a firearm.
Well, your emotional control, obviously, with experience has grown a lot because
absolutely.
you can acknowledge everything.
Yes, no, absolutely. I mean, we talked about de-escalation. That is by far a very good tool. Knowing each and every law, where you can carry, where you cannot carry, You know, Bruce Lee, there's a good video on fighting without fighting. So it's really getting yourself away from that negativity of that person. Simply just, you know, sometimes just walking away is probably the best thing. Rounding back to that incident, the police did come and they captured the guy. The totality of the circumstance was that person was drunk and his sister was not letting him into the apartment. Therefore, he decided that he was going to break the windshield. But I was in no imminent threat. You know.
Let's go step by step. So you got the first scenario. You have these vicious dogs. They're your neighbor's dogs. They always get loose. What would the Frank do today? The Frank with all this experience and emotional control versus what you did before. We already know what you did before. So now let's paint that picture out for the viewers to understand, because it could happen to anybody that doesn't have the emotional control that you should have first when you're carrying any weapon whatsoever.
Yep.
But not only that, because you could endanger your family or somebody else because you make a mistake that is reckless or negligent. So now let's paint that picture. The dogs are loose. What would you do?
Well, right now, in this day and time, I would tell anybody not to go out and be jogging at night. Just nilly-willy. You don't know what you're going to encounter. It's probably not going to be a dog. It's probably going to be a car coming out of the driveway. It could be somebody, you know, just crazy. It could be, you know, I'm jogging at night and, you know, I may stumble into something. So no, I stopped jogging at night altogether. So if I were to jog, I'd go to a lit park and I'd do my jogging there. The incident with the guy that I almost shot, don't leave your castle. I'm not in an imminent threat. My life is not in danger. My loved ones are not in danger. There, I did a hybrid. I did something good and I did something bad. I called 911, but I left my house. I would not leave my house. I mean, and I encourage no one to leave their house. This is the Shark Tank analogy. So the Shark Tank analogy is this. Sergio, if you were hypothetically on top of a Shark Tank, okay, and you and your wife are up in the Shark Tank, and she drops her wedding band.
Yeah, that it's not significant enough for you to dive in there as a scuba diver and try to save it.
Yes. Would you?
I wouldn't endanger my life or my wife.
Yeah, you're not gonna jump into the Shark Tank. Now, if your wife were to fall into a Shark Tank,
dive in there
at that point in time, yes. So that is the Shark Tank analogy. Any of our vehicles, any of our properties, whether they may have insurance, doesn't matter. You know, they steal my truck.
Yeah.
No worries. Now, they cannot steal my truck with anybody inside. That's when, you know, all bets are off. That's what the new Frank that practices mature judgment is all about. I use that to teach my students to make sure that they know that, hey, no property is worth you losing your liberty or losing your life over. Road rages. So in Miami, South Florida, you know, we see it all the time, road rage. I've been involved in, not in a road rage, but people just perhaps coming over and sticking the middle finger and doing all this bogus stuff and just honking and tailgating me.
Yeah.
So guess what? The person that calls 911 at that point is a person that would win, okay? Because what's to say that that other person may be the person to call 911 and now they are portraying you as the aggressor. So even if nothing happened, even if just that person just fled and left, but it got heated up where, you know, they were honking at you, they were throwing their car onto you and whatnot, it's good to report it. I mean,
that makes sense. That happened to a friend of mine. Like, it was actually, I think his neighbor, something like that the neighbor was the aggressor, but then my friend didn't call the cops, and then the aggressor portrayed to be the victim, and then the cops were like, wait a minute, and they were all confused.
Exactly.
So luckily, my friend had witnesses, and then the other person, I don't think, had anybody to vouch for them.
So calling 911, whoever calls 911 first is the person that wins. It's good to just call it in and report it, tag number, type of vehicle, maybe the person inside, but don't pursue that. Just get away and make that phone call. We're facing many crazy things in our country. People prey on vulnerable people. And that's what we cannot do. And the motto of my company, which is Alpha One, is a stronger tomorrow. And in order to be strong, we have to have some sort of strength. So yeah, Sergio, what we're gonna go and do next is practice on draw to first shot. Draw to first shot is, we have our firearm. Defensive situations happen within 21 feet, generally, okay? Other than if you have to defend yourself, you know, from a farther distance. If you were to have like a AR-15 or some other long rifle platform, you would use it. It's called closing the reactionary gap. There was an FBI agent, his name is Dennis Tuller, and a lot of his agents were getting hurt or getting killed with blunt objects, with sharp objects. He said, I need to try to stop this. The way that he started stopping it is he measured 21 feet of distance, and he started getting his agents to draw the gun the quickest way possible so that they can really stop the threat. They started doing a double tap. 2 shots, center mass, the quickest speed possible. So we're gonna practice that, and they have several drill names: reactionary gap drill, the Tuller drill, or the 21-foot drill. But let's practice and let's see how we do. Joe, our next drill is the closing the reactionary gap drill. And this is me right here, all right? I am fueled up with drugs. I really wanna obliterate the heck out of you, okay? And I have this big ass samurai sword, okay? I'm not the best runner, but remember, I'm fueled up with some bath salt crap. All I wanna do is kill you. I mean, remember, you wanna kill me, but I wanna kill you. And I have a pretty big samurai, okay? So,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm dead.
okay?
Hopefully that 9-foot guy.
Exactly. So we're gonna measure your draw time. Shooter ready, stand by. All right.
That's 4 though.
That's 4, okay. So your first shot took you 2.72 seconds, all right, to do. All right. Now, ideally, I wouldn't want you to go forward. Ideally, you would not want to go forward. You would want to go.
I didn't go sideways?
No, you were going forward. All right, but let's try it again. That's what we're here, right? Okay. All right, 3 seconds was your draw. That's good. Remember, it was from concealment. Show clear, show clear. Okay. Slide forward, reholster it. All right. 21 feet. You're gonna move off the X, but this time you have a malfunction on the gun. You know how to hand. We spoke about tap rack. Okay. So when you get the malfunction, tap rack, back into fighting. You tracking? All right. Yeah, you have a malfunction.
That was a malfunction.
That's another malfunction. All right, so you had 2. All right, so
yeah, so I hit it and I just went like that.
So you don't want to stop until you go onto slide lock. Good job. Scan and assess. Good job. Very good job. Much better. Now we're gonna add a tactical reload. Okay. No more threat. I'm putting my magazine in. That's my tactical reload.
Oh, okay. So you, after you unloaded the clip, you checked,
Actually,
and then you reloaded just in case later there's a threat.
actually,
So you basically reholstered with a full magazine.
yeah. So you have 2 full magazines, all right, and you stop the threat with 4, 5, 6, 7 shots. But you know, you're actually almost empty.
Yeah.
All right. How do you, you know?
Yeah, like to
You
keep
gotta
count. You lost your count, so you want to reload.
You gotta load up your gun again. You gotta put more gas into the gun.
No, I didn't.
All right. Load and make ready. All right. Reluctantly reholster your firearm. Good job. Is the shooter ready? Stand by.
No?
No, because you have your.
Because I had one live.
Yeah, you
so I
don't
fucked up.
you don't do that. All right, let's try it again. It's okay. Go ahead and show clear. Remove your magazine. Show clear.
Clear.
Okay. Reluctantly reholster your firearm.
Jeez.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Oh,
Okay.
it's hot. I'm like,
Estaba caliente, estaba.
yeah.
All right. That's happened to me, man. It's many times. All right. You're just gonna get like a little burn. All right. How do you like that drill?
Yeah, it was good. I tried to keep going as much as I could,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
it
So you were
it jammed
actually
to the limit.
you were actually getting real malfunctions,
Yeah, yeah.
like, you know.
And I was doing what you were saying.
And so you actually even got a double feed. When you get a double feed, tap, rack. If it doesn't happen, rip the magazine. Rip, you know, just press on that. You know, you may need to, when you get a double feed, right? So you get a double feed, you put the slide back, all right? And at that point is when you can remove your magazine. All right, you rip it. They call it rip it. Rip your magazine, all right, and you know, put it back out, and you work the slide. Don't worry, it's not gonna break. You work the slide, all right. As soon as you have nothing back in it, you insert your magazine back in, hit it, and you're back in action. Okay, that was a real good malfunction that you had. You had a double feed malfunction. We're gonna go to low barricade. All right, there's gonna be times where, hey, you actually have to come and, you know, hide yourself from somebody. Somebody's shooting at you, and you have to take cover. The only cover that you have is a low barricade right here. I mean, we could squat and we could do anything, but we'll shoot over low barricade. The good thing about shooting over low barricade is you have a steady gun. You're within 5 feet, right? Then all of a sudden somebody's shooting at you, and you have to, the only thing that you have is there, so you have to come and run to low barricade. That's low barricade. So yeah, you actually can support your gun, all right? Plus you got cover.
Yeah.
Now it's not the ideal thing, but it's good barricade. So this could be a post, it could be a concrete slab, it could be a wall or
Yeah,
something
some
along
sort
the
of
line.
cover.
Yeah. Stand by.
It's jamming a lot.
Tap and rack. Tap and rack. Okay, you got slide lock. Okay, scan and assess, scan and assess, scan and assess. How many rounds did you have there?
9.
You had 9 rounds?
Yeah.
3, 6 of 9. Okay, shooter ready? Stand by. Give me the other side. This is very impractical. The reason being is you have to be somewhere around here, okay, so that you can actually come and just peek a little bit. Okay, peek a little bit. And so whoever's shooting at you has a small target and doesn't hit you. Now, if you have to be like, all right, you're coming out from around here, what part of my body do you see from here? So if you wanna...
Yeah, because you're saying it's not practical to be so close that you can't even move and you can't see anything.
Yeah. And barricading, you know, is really, we're using cover. So there's 2 differences. We have concealment. Concealment is when I hide in any of these brushes, that's concealment, where they can actually be shooting at you and they're gonna hit you. Now, cover is when you're actually behind something that is sturdy enough where nothing's gonna penetrate through. Now, we're gonna simulate this as a high barricade or high cover, all right? For training purposes, these are barrels, but imagine that these are slab of concretes, you know, a big wall. And I just want you to look at my angle as to the distance that I'm going to be from behind high barricade or the barricade versus me peeking out and shooting. So you can get an objective and the audience can get an objective as to, you know, how important it is and at what distance. Typically, you know, we would want to be somewhat at arm's length of this. We don't want to really like be hugging the barricade because then we're exposing half of our body compared to me being in back of the barricade and coming out a little part of my body, or in this case for the camera, somewhere around here, all right? Or even squatting just a little bit down and coming out through here. Okay? And, you know, coming out maybe through the side here. So you're actually using all of this as, you know, for your body, and you're just peeking out so your body can just be seen, you know, at a small angle versus your target. So high barricade is important, but it has to be within a certain amount of distance from the high barricade. All right, shooter ready, Stand by. Somebody had a knife, you know, now they have a knife. I grip, I pull, I rotate, and I shoot, and I shoot, I shoot, I shoot. We have the threat behind us at this point. You know, we cannot just dilly-willy just pull the gun and shoot, right? So the purpose of the drill is to engage the threat, but first we have to identify the threat. So if we're going to be turning on this direction, what we would do is we turn our head, look that there's a threat, turn around, come out, and engage the threat. You don't ever want to just shoot a threat if you don't know that they're actually a threat.
Well, Frank, let me tell you, this is not as easy as it looks. This was extremely engaging. I learned a lot. I learned where my deficiencies are. So thank you so much. I didn't even know the
trigger reset.
The trigger reset. I was like, wow, you know. Now that I'm thinking about that, it changes the way I'm shooting. So when I practice, I'm gonna keep that in mind every time. You know. I want to thank you so much for all the time and dedication. You know,
of course.
Obviously,
no, it's my pleasure.
For us to come on a Sunday, you know, we're both highly committed to the people. Like we want them to capture some good content, and we're creating it on a Sunday.
Absolutely, and I want to thank you for coming out here and spending some time engaging in defensive pistol shooting. You know what it entails is. It's really not just going to an indoor range or just doing bullseye shooting. Trust me when I tell you that if you go to an indoor range and you start doing bullseye shooting, you're gonna become so proficient at it. When you're in a defensive situation, it's a game changer. You know, all that goes out the door because it's milliseconds that counts, and things happen. Things happen in such a fast pace that we get gun malfunctions. We have to, you know, we have to be lawful citizens, so we cannot overkill anybody. That's not the idea. You know, we have to do things ethically. We have to do things lawfully. And I thank you. I thank you for the opportunity of putting this content out there. With great power comes great responsibility, and we definitely need to maintain that responsibility. At the same time, we have to maintain our strength because people prey on vulnerable people, and that's not what we are. We're not. We don't want to be vulnerable. And if we can get our family members, even our little kids, to come out and start shooting, you know, since little, that's really good. Since if we can get our wives and any of our loved ones to come out and do this, it's definitely a safe environment, and believe me, one day it could save somebody's life. So,
thank you so much.
I really want to thank you, sir.
I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, I'll see you soon.
They say never use nunchucks to defend yourself.
guy.
That was an amazing training day. It's a lot harder than it looks. Frank really broke everything down for me. I learned a lot. And then at that point when I was practicing it, I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't even know how to shoot. So, I hope that encourages anyone to start shooting. Even if you want to be a videographer, as done here, he'll help you. So at first, everything was laid out. Once we got out there on the field, when we started doing the drills, I hadn't done drills like that before. I really have to give it to Frank and everybody that takes that class, because it is one hell of a class. We were there for like 6 hours straight. We did so many different techniques that I hadn't done before, and there's always something else to learn. So I'm really glad that I came. I received amazing treatment. I encourage anyone and everyone to come and give Frank Avila a call. He's a great instructor, very patient. He has a good temperament. I highly recommend the class. So I'm gonna have this with no bullets for a second to capture that action.
But don't point that at me.
No, I'm not.